Look how far we've come, all the things we've done. Did it all with love, beauty from the bottom up. All I want is you, you're my favorite view. But there's nothing new, girl, you make my heart beat.
And we are back.
We are back, lovelies.
We are here. You are here. Thank you for being here, because if you weren't, we would be alone, and that sucks.
That does suck.
How's everybody's day going? Today is Monday, which will be a Monday when you watch this. So happy Monday to everyone currently tuning in. For us, today is February 17th. For you, it'll be like April 25th or some shit. Like, you guys are way out there. If you're not part of our Patreon community, you're so far behind. We are recording live in front of our Patreon. So hello for our Patreon group. I'm glad that you guys are here. Thanks for hanging out. All right, guys, as you know, there was a TikTok scare. We lost the app for a whole 12 hours, and we have no idea what the future of the app looks like. And with that, we are very concerned about the loss of our following. We have amassed almost 3 million followers across that platform with all 4 of our accounts. And we are trying to push people to other social media platforms so that in the event that anything happens on one app, we have multiple other backup plans. If you want to make sure that you're not missing any content, we highly recommend that you check out our Patreon.
On Patreon, we have multiple tiers to choose from. Starting at $10, you begin to receive exclusive content. At $15 a month, you get access to our private Discord server where we've amassed an absolutely amazing community of supportive people. And beyond that, we have other tiers to check out, along with my 2 private women's group, if that's something you may be interested in.
Guys, on our $15 and higher tier, you have access to live recordings. We record all of our content 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week, live in front of our Patreon audience, where they are able to chat with us while we're recording. They get to see all the flirting, the outtakes, the hot topic conversations that never actually make it on the podcast. And it's really worth that aspect in itself. We have an After Dark where we sit down usually once a week and have a glass of bourbon, or in Peach's case, a glass of wine and a bowl of cheese. And we have a whole lot of fun conversations, karaoke in the Discord. We finish the lyrics. We literally just hang out, and you guys get to hang out with us. There is a host of other perks, including Zoom calls that are coming for the ultimate tier, so that if you guys are having problems, you can talk to us. It also gives you the heads up on private meet and greets, because when we travel, we try to meet up with people on our Discord on a regular basis. There's a whole slew of other perks that come through Patreon. I highly recommend that you check it out.
The best way to support what we are doing is to share the content. The second best way is to check out our Patreon. Thank you guys for being here.
And we are going to do some typical email stuff today, right? Is that what we're doing? Emails?
Yeah.
Are we going to do reaction videos later to music?
We can.
Because now we have the whole night. Before we had to leave at like 3:30. Now we don't have to.
Yes.
So we can do the next 2 episodes, take a break, and then do like music video reactions. Peaches reacts.
I'm down for that.
Play some old school Trick Daddy, some 3 6 Mafia or something that you've never heard before.
I might want to pick up some wine or something.
Yeah.
Enjoy myself a little bit.
We have to take your truck home for that.
Easy breezy.
We'll have
barefoot wine.
We'll have to make a run home for that, so that we don't have both vehicles here taking up Carrie's driveway.
That's a good call.
We can do that for sure, though. I think that would be fun. Do a whole bunch of like music that you've never heard of that I grew up on.
Hell yeah.
That'd be fun. Do that as like a bonus content thing. And we could play video games.
We could.
We could do both. We could just do a whole ass day, since we're going to be taking an entire week off.
Yeah.
Technically, we're taking more than a week, because after today, we're not recording again until we get back on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Yep, doing the thing. This has been a hell of a morning for those of you who are part of the Patreon community. Thank you for watching the last episode and the kind words that we got. That was a whole lot of recognizable growth on our parts, and a whole lot of shit that we had seen, which was really exciting, and felt really good to record it. But because we did that, I don't think that we should jump into nonsense. I think we should just jump into recording and do the thing. You guys should get Black Ops 6. I'm just saying, if you're part of the Discord community, that's what we play. And the more people that have Black Ops, the more we can do private matches, and that's so much more fun than playing multiplayer.
So much more enjoyable.
All the shit talking.
Oh, yeah. And it's really, you have to find creative ways to say, Jenna shot me in the face the other day.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was speaking to someone on my team, and I was like, hey, over here, follow me. It's clear, because I can't say I'm near bomb B. Go towards the elevator, because then everyone's going to swarm me. And it was Jenna.
Shot you right in the face.
She was like, heard, okay, I'll come over there. But
that's so funny.
It's a lot of fun.
Somebody said that episode was perfect timing for this trip you're about to go on. You know, I actually thought so too.
Oh, why do you say that? Why?
Because we get a break.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot that went into that last, episode, and there's a whole lot of mental processing that's probably going to happen. And we get, 12 hours in a car on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
We have a whole lot of conversations.
Yep.
Vibe, buy MW3. I'll send you the money for it. Or BO6. I will send you the money for the game or send you the code. I'll do it when we're done. How about that? For Vibes.
Done.
Yeah, the least I can do. You fucking designed a t-shirt for us.
And it looks fantastic. We can tell that you put your whole ass into that.
Yeah.
Didn't half-ass it.
No, we don't. Yeah, no half-assing. All right, let's jump into some emails, babe.
All right. Did I make a mistake? Podcast read. Hello, Chris and Peaches. I've been watching your podcast for a while and figure I would share my story and hopefully have it read on your podcast for some insight with an unbiased opinion. I also apologize in advance for my long email and completely understand if you don't read it all the way through. It's only 2.5 pages.
Okay.
Not that long. I'm expecting like 8+ pages when they say it's long. I'll start with a little background about us and our relationship first. My fiance is 24 and I am 28, and we have been together for almost 5 years now and got engaged in March of 2024. We have a long distance relationship where I currently reside in Canada and he lives in the US.
So long distance in a different country.
Yeah. I wonder how the engagement came about.
No, it's rough though.
Right.
To be that far away.
Yeah. For our entire relationship, we have both always made the conscious effort to spend as much time together, doing daily check-ins, sending little love notes and gifts, and frequently visiting each other as much as we can. Oh, I love that. I love that they make it a point to visit each other as much as they can. I think that's key to maintaining long-distance relationship. And that's not including special circumstances like military or all of those extra curriculars.
Got a lot of voice time and shit that has to happen.
Yeah.
So real quick before we move on, because I've seen a lot of people say that they want to get Vibes artwork tattooed on him. For you guys who want to know what we're talking about, go to Instagram and look at Vibe_journey.
And pull it up and double check.
Yeah, because I think it might be Vibes with a Z.
I think it is Vibes with a Z.
He's in the chat. It'll be faster for me to just look than for me to wait on the chat to catch up. It's Vibes, VIBEZ_journey. He does a lot of really cool little like mushroom people, and believe it or not, he was a tattoo artist at one point. So if you guys want commissions done by him, it would not be hard for you. What are you smirking at?
I was trying to balance the Apple Pen in my tunnel, but it didn't. Oh, it did that time.
Stupid human tricks, ladies and gentlemen.
But it fell out through the back of my ear and I panicked a little bit.
Gotcha.
How do you gift it to somebody?
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh.
Hopefully there's no music as it comes through us, because I'm going to do this while we're sitting here.
Okay.
If you wish to gift a bundle to a friend, 2-factor authentication must be enabled on your account. So I'll have to log in from over there. I'll get it to him by the end of the day.
Okay.
Like when we take the next break, I'll run in there and purchase it and get it sent over to him.
Dope.
That way he can get it downloaded before we play.
Continuing on. However, after our engagement, my fiance started having behavioral changes towards me. He became more verbally aggressive, which would provoke many fights. Whenever I would try to express my thoughts and feelings, it would commonly be brushed off or even belittled and made to feel as if my feelings were insignificant. Besides the frequent arguments that would happen, he also took another woman out for dinner for her birthday on a one-on-one date.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, that would be not my fiance.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. That would be not my fiance. He did not ask my permission or even attempted to speak to me about it before, and I only found out after the fact when he sent me a photo of his meal and I saw her partially in the photo. He's adamant that he did not cheat on me, but I truly feel like he has. That would be the only thing in my mind.
Would that be enough though?
What?
Okay, so he's swearing up and down he didn't cheat on her, right?
Yeah.
She feels he did.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be enough? Right? Like
to end the relationship?
Right. Like you believe
yeah,
that infidelity has happened.
Yeah.
It's not going to be something that's easy to get over, especially if you believe that that's the case. It doesn't matter what he says or does. You believe it. He was wrong for going out to a dinner date with somebody on their birthday alone.
Yeah.
That's where the issue is.
Mm-hmm.
So whether or not you believe he physically cheated, you view that as an emotional cheat. Like that's foul.
That's lying by omission.
Right. Right.
That would have been enough for me. knowing myself, and I'm not saying everyone has to live to my standard of things, I would not be able to get out of my head over this.
Right. I get it.
It would be nonstop, perpetual. Well, he's saying he didn't, but if he didn't cheat on me, why did he not tell me he was doing it?
Right.
Yeah, especially at fiance status. Right? I could imagine like the first 6 months of dating not mentioning things every single time because you're still in the 90-day trial of this, right? Depending on how fast things move.
That's funny.
In my mind, dates are happening once or twice a month, not every single week. People get busy with shit. That would be enough for me. You asking me that question, that would be enough.
Right. So, and that's what I'm getting at. This is, remember the first TikTok I ever had that blew up? Do you remember that?
About checking the phones?
Yeah. Yeah. That was the first video I ever hit 1 million, and it did it in like 2 days.
It did.
And I was blown away. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And I had to turn the comments off.
Yeah.
Because the comments got nasty. And the point that I made in the video is not that video was not about how dare you go through my phone. That video was about this conversation right here. I no longer trust you.
And that's the bottom line.
And because I no longer trust you, go ahead and do what you got to do. But just know that this doesn't work anymore because we don't trust each other. What?
I read the next line. Sorry, guys. My fiance, oh gosh, I probably shouldn't have gasped, but I gasped because not my fiance. My fiance has also gone behind my back and confided in my best friend about how he is no longer sexually attracted to me.
Oh, he's trying to fuck the best friend.
Trying to fuck the best friend.
Damn.
I'm going to keep reading.
Okay.
At this point in time, we had not had any sexual interaction whatsoever for months. This, along with the other issues listed earlier, provoked our breakup. I was emotionally and mentally drained to the point I turned to alcohol to numb the hurt. I'm fully aware this is wrong and have taken the necessary steps to better myself. There's no coming back from that for me. Right? If I chose to believe, okay, you didn't cheat on me, there were pure intentions here, you didn't think I'd be
upset by it.
Upset by you not mentioning this, whatever. And we got past that point. And then I find out, now I'm putting us in this situation so I can really, truly emotionally feel that. If you went to my best friend and said that you were no longer sexually attracted to me, yeah, I would think that you're trying to get with my best friend. The relationship's over at that point. There is no, oh, I didn't mean it that way. It was supposed to be a joke.
No, no joke about that.
Right.
Why is he comfortable telling that to the best friend?
Right.
So now.
Why is he in contact with the best friend?
Right.
I don't message your best friends.
No.
You don't message my best friends. There is no need for a direct contact there.
Right. That screams that there's already something going on, and she's trying to hint that foul shit is at play to maybe end the relationship. There's a whole lot of motive there. Like there's a whole lot there that like would have all kinds of alarms going off in my brain.
100%.
Yep.
Hey guys, little quick interruption. If you're enjoying the content, please leave a like. And also don't forget to comment. We enjoy interacting with you guys and hearing your opinions, and it helps the algorithm.
It's also free to do. And if you really want to help make sure the show continues to do, hit the subscribe button and share the content across your social medias. It costs you nothing and it greatly helps the show.
I'm excited. I'm so stoked that our little community's growing.
Me too.
I very, very rarely believe in right person, wrong time. There are certain circumstances that are outside of that are the exception to the rule, right? This behavior is not right person, wrong time. This is purely wrong person, wrong time, and I would move on.
Right.
I felt the need to throw that out there because if I broke up with this person and then for some reason rekindled, was thinking about going back, all I would have to do is remember that one instance. He told my best friend he's no longer sexually attracted to me.
You think it's something you'd be able to get over in the future?
No, I would not be able to trust that person alone with any of my female friends ever again. Is he comparing me to their bodies? Does he think that they're sexy, period? Is he thinking about somebody else when we're in the bedroom? Yeah.
Crazy that this is almost like there's a power in words. Right? Like the whole episode that we literally just recorded last week that will go live before this does.
Yep.
I think. I hope.
Maybe.
It's probably not, because now that I think about it, I think that April's done for Friday content, so it'll be after this.
Okay.
It'll be the Friday of this one, I believe.
At some point, you guys will get the information.
Have a whole ass episode about that.
Continuing on.
Yep.
However, I decided to give my fiance another chance, and now I'm beginning to feel I've made a mistake. Yeah. I would revert back to what I just said. You know, people think that it's just a one and done. I forgive you in this instance, and everything's going to go back to being okay or normal, or we're going to evolve from here. I don't think a lot of people recognize the long-term mental fallout of the things that happen to them, especially if it's a betrayal by the one person who's supposed to have your back no matter what. And like I was just saying prior, I would not be able to, with my borderline, I wouldn't be able to have sex again. I would be so hyper fixated on the fact that he told one of my closest friends that he's no longer attracted to me. And if it was a woman, that makes it even worse.
Yeah, your trauma is definitely still very prevalent in those aspects. But I think that over time, you would, as a person, would be able to heal enough that you would be able to get past that type of shit. I think that as you go through your growth journey and you evolve as a woman, like your triggers and the things that bother you will change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat asked if you can elaborate on right person, wrong time.
One of the things that come to my mind is Johnny Cash and June Carter. Their relationship was very, very tumultuous before they actually decided that we're going to do this thing. I'm almost certain they were both cheating on somebody. At least Johnny was.
Johnny was. June Carter was divorced.
Yeah.
That for what she went through in that time frame, that era, divorce was not an okay thing.
Yeah.
Johnny and June, that's like a whole ass love story. Like that is a fucking love story.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right. Had Johnny and June got together in the beginning when Johnny was still going through all the shit that he was doing, the drugs and the drinking and the whoring and the touring and all of that, they wouldn't have had the relationship they had.
Right.
We wouldn't have had the relationship that we have if I wouldn't have gone through the things and you wouldn't have gone through the things to get us here. So you can meet the right person at the wrong time in your life.
Yeah.
And then catch up with them later in life and it work out.
Right.
But
you know, I'm going to elaborate more on, is this something that I could get over? If it was a genuine conversation of, there's part of me that's like, if there's a genuine conversation of I didn't recognize, I was just trying to get some support or find a way to get out of this headspace. Like maybe if I could get over that if he was saying it to a male best friend and
okay, well, that's
how did
different.
you work through that? In this instance though, like you're an adult. You know damn well what you're doing right now. And you going to my female best friend talking about how you're not sexually attracted to me anymore. There is no innocence behind that in my eyes.
Would it have been okay if it was to a man? Say he was going to church and told his church buddy, like, man, I'm really fucking struggling in my marriage right now. I've lost the attraction to my wife.
I would view that differently.
So would I.
I would view that differently because there is we're struggling in our marriage and I'm no longer attracted to my wife.
I need help.
Right. And that could be stemming from, we have a newborn baby. Stress is a massive thing and she's no longer the woman I married. I don't recognize her anymore. Well, this is a point in time where her hormones are out of whack and her whole body's just went through this massive trauma. Now you guys have a new life. So are you not attracted to your wife anymore, or has your circumstances changed massively and you're defaulting to it's the wife's problem?
Right. Yeah, context matters.
Yeah.
Context matters. I think that having that conversation with the opposite sex in general is inappropriate. It's crazy to me how different our outlook on things are. Right? Because during the healing phase of the podcast and all the things that we've done over the last almost 3 years, I don't joke the same way I do or used to. You know what I mean? Like being in a tattoo shop, nothing was off limits. Like you could joke about anything. It was always just inappropriate debauchery 24/7 in there. And now having conversations with people who are still in the tattoo shop, it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that was never a thing before.
It gets very raunchy.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
He has apologized and profusely. Oh, he has apologized profusely for everything he has said and done and has been making an effort to improve, but I keep feeling like I've made a mistake going back. I feel like the damage that was done was irreversible, and as much as I love and adore him, I don't feel like we can go back to how things were in the past before our engagement. Nothing will ever be the same.
No, you can't go back.
Right. There's only forward. So you guys can have a new evolution of what your relationship once looked like. But you can't ignore the fact that he lied by omission about going to dinner with a woman and told your best friend that he's no longer sexually attracted to you. Like, that information is out there. That hurt's done. The nail's removed, but the hole is still in the post.
Yeah. So we talked about worthy of her trust.
Yeah.
And the book has talked about how after a decade of infidelity, like a decade after infidelity happened, they now have the best marriage that they could have possibly had. But there's a very real part of that book where they talk about having to accept whether or not you are going to be able to move past the infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't move past the infidelity and you think that you're unsure, you need to let them go and go on about your life, because it's not fair to either of you to be half in and half out.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that you're going to be able to overcome the infidelity, you need to separate.
Yes.
And go about your life for a little while and maybe come back and try again in the future. But like, change has to happen. You need to see growth in the people. There's a whole lot of stuff that needs to play out for that to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the beginning is that you need to figure out if you're going to be able to overcome that shit. Tara said, why are the jokes less funny now? The jokes are less funny now because I don't view sexuality as an act of entertainment. When we're watching Dexter, we fast forward the sex scenes.
Mm-hmm.
When we are watching a TV show and things become sexually inappropriate, we fast forward that shit. And it's not because it's just, there's no point in that. Like, why do I need to see that? If I'm watching TV from something from the 50s or 60s or 70s or even 80s, you get the hint that somebody's fucking. You see the light turn off. You know what they're doing. I don't need to see the sex scene.
Yeah.
Watching softcore porn while watching, TV at 7:00 with your kids in the living room is not fucking normal.
Mm-hmm.
And we've somehow made it that way.
Yeah.
So the sexual jokes and the inappropriate, sexual comments amongst your friends that gets very grotesque and vulgar, it's not funny. I don't find the humor in it anymore. I think that my friends have been programmed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to deprogram them. And I will interrupt a conversation and be like, you guys are way out of line. This is making me uncomfortable. Why do you think this is normal behavior? Versus allowing that shit to continue. And if it does continue beyond that, I'm moving the fuck on. I'm changing my social circle again because I have changed.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to stay with people who are not willing to step up as well.
Well, what does that look like to you? Because you still make inappropriate jokes.
It's nowhere near. My inappropriate jokes are like PG-13 compared to what they were before.
Okay, so where is that line drawn for you since we're having this conversation? So people can have a better understanding.
I'm not willing to make those kind of jokes on the podcast because they will 100% demonetize us.
Okay.
But things that I'm not willing to do anymore is talk openly about other people's sex lives. I don't need to hear what you did to your wife last night.
Yeah.
That is none of my business. I don't need to know what you did at the party. And then in terms of joking, like, I honestly don't know. I guess I would have to be in the position to be like, that made me uncomfortable. I don't like that.
I am at a point, I used to make jokes. I'll spit in your mouth. Things like that. And I have stopped making those jokes. I'm not going to make a joke that implicates me doing something with somebody else that's not my husband.
I agree with that. I'll talk shit about sticking rifles in people's asses playing video games, right? That's inappropriate as fuck. But I like talking shit in video games, especially when I'm winning.
Yeah.
I apologize for anybody that plays video games with me when I'm winning. The shit talking is real. But I think that this comes to leveling up. Somebody mentioned Spartacus. That show was phenomenal. But the amount of nudity and weird fucking sex scenes that were in that show, if I was to try to watch that now, I actually think that we did try to watch it and couldn't watch it all the way through. Because it was just constant inappropriate shit that has nothing to do with the storyline.
Yeah.
And I'll take it a step further and add the DEI aspect. When we watch TV shows and they start going away from the story to tell about people's sex lives, their sexual preferences, whether or not they're a liberal or a conservative, if that's not relevant to what's happening in the TV show and to the main plot of the I'm turning that shit off. I'm not watching it anymore. I don't need to hear any of that. Adding all of this extracurricular story takes away from the entertainment value that I'm trying to be immersed in. So it caters to all of that. I gotta be honest, I don't even know if I'd be able to watch Game of Thrones the same way that I have watched Game of Thrones in the past.
Yeah, it's very Just unnecessary. Euphoria is one of those shows for me too. I really enjoyed Euphoria when it came out. I still fast forward through all of the sex scenes, but the more that we have done the podcast and I've looked back on things, shit's mad inappropriate. They're high schoolers. Why are we watching so many sex scenes?
Right.
When they're supposed to be 16, 17 years old.
People don't think about that.
Right.
They'll just watch it. Oh, they're having sex.
Yeah.
Not realizing that they're actually doing that is suggested child pornography.
Right.
And you're watching the shit like it's fucking normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not fucking normal, guys. When we tried to watch that, we've talked about this on the podcast a lot, the spinoff of The Boys. It was like V Nation or V Generation B or whatever the fuck it was. That very first episode, they showed a teenage girl pull her underwear down. I shut that shit off immediately. We're not watching this. I'm not going to be programmed into viewing that type of behavior as fucking normal.
Right.
So.
Continuing on.
Sure.
I'm genuinely at a loss, and any insight or guidance would be really appreciated at this time. Thank you so much for reading this far. I love you guys, and I hope to meet you both in person someday. I think we said enough to answer.
Agree.
You know, if this is something where you don't feel like this can move forward because there's no going back, you guys will never have what was had before you found out all of these foul things that he said or did.
Right.
If you can't move forward, like my husband said, it's unfair to not just yourself, but to him. If he's genuinely remorseful and recognizes the things that he did hurt you and does not want to do those anymore, and he's actively trying to build something with you, and you know this isn't going to go anywhere, you need to let him go.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to add to that. Well, that's a lie. I do. It's important to recognize that there are a lot of people out there who can recover from infidelity and have great marriages or relationships after the fact. But that is a personal decision that you are going to have to make.
Are you ready to get into this one, babe?
Yep.
This one is titled Siri, Go Away.
That's
Thank
an
you,
interesting
Siri.
name for a title.
Oh no, Siri. I didn't mean to be mean to you like that. Hang on. I'm sorry that I was mean to you, Siri. I appreciate you. She said it's okay. But she put a period on there. I feel like she's mad at me. Okay. This one is titled, He Won't Get Help With Me.
Uh-oh. That's a hard one.
Yeah. Dear Peach and Chris, I would first like to say that I very much enjoy the content you produce and share on TikTok. I've recently followed your podcast on Spotify, and I plan to dedicate time to tuning in to that as well. You are both beautiful people, and I don't mean physically, I mean emotionally, inside and out. I'm not really looking for you to post this or get attention or anything like that, though, although I'm not opposed to you using it anonymously if it could help someone else. I just genuinely need some help and a healthy perspective. I have closely listened to what you guys have said in regards to relationship turmoil and tried to work with your tools and strategies you share into my own situation. I actually have written this out and reread it so many times. My intention is to be honest, informative, and straightforward. It is always my intention to be honest. I try to see all sides of any situation to form an honest, true opinion, and straightforward to keep it as brief as possible with as much information for you to see our issues. All that being said, I'm trying to write with my brain and not my emotions, so this has taken me days to do so. I kind of don't know where to begin, so I'll begin with this. I think it's safe and correct to say neither my husband or myself have ever seen or been a part of a genuinely healthy relationship. I would even go as far to say that we don't even know what that looks like or how to be in one.
There's a whole lot of honesty in that.
Yeah.
Because she just basically said that her relationship is a mess.
Yeah. We have been through a lot both separately and together. We both carry pain and the weight of childhood issues into our adult lives. Trials and tribulations, or life-changing events from our teens as well. Mine was vastly different from my husband's. My father was an alcoholic and drug addict who was physically abusive towards my mother until I was about 11. He has been clean and sober since then, and my mother is no longer physically abused by him. He also was continuously unfaithful. My mom stayed with him and is still with him. We as children weren't hit by our parents often, but my father's absence through his addiction, the addiction itself, and the effect it had on my mother and how she treated us and my parents' personal relationship issues definitely pierced us as kids. We were all very different people from living through that. We are all very different people from living through that. I have 2 children from before I met my now husband. I was 18, turning 19 when I had my first son. I say kids, but my first son is now 21, and my daughter is going to be 17 in November. I raised them as best as I could on my own. Their father is more of a friend to them and did not help to parent/co-parent or contribute financially. I carried the load. I did get help and support from my parents who are beyond amazing grandparents. My mom watched them as I went back to school and worked and still watch my baby so I can do my current therapies and give them their deserved attention and commitment today. Yes, I also have a 15-month-old baby son as well. I know your eyes are probably popping. I cherish and adore being a mom. How I parent is a big problem for my husband. I don't scream or yell, I don't hit, and I do not speak to my kids negatively or in a way that would hurt them emotionally. Okay, so I'm gonna pause there. Does that mean you're not saying things purposely to hurt them? Because I can tell our kids we're not having chicken nuggets for dinner, and then you think the end of the world's happening.
Right.
I'm the worst mom. You've hurt my feelings, mommy. I'm mad at you. We just don't have chicken nuggets for dinner, homie. You're gonna have to have pizza rolls or the meatloaf I made. So what does that look like? Because if you are gentle parenting and there's no discipline happening and you're walking on eggshells around your kids and they are the bosses in the household because they recognize they can get whatever they want, that's a problem. If you're being conscientious of the way that you're saying things and you're trying to not intentionally hurt your children, I agree with that. Out of anger or overstimulation or overwhelm or I just need a minute. You look like you want to say something.
I have a lot I want to say, but it's not really relevant. It's just parenting shit.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say it.
Okay. Continuing on, I am and will always be a calm, gentle space. I communicate to them on their level. I try to navigate any situation that warrant it in that manner. I parent with patience, kindness, empathy, and compassion. That is something I am unwilling to change.
Did she say how many other kids she had?
She has 2 children. One is 21, one is 17, and there's an 18-month-old.
So how are you gentle parenting a 15-month-old?
Right.
The brain's not even there yet. Like,
So are you gentle parenting your almost adult children?
well, I mean, they're adults at this point. They need to be doing life shit.
Right. So where is the parenting aspect coming in?
Right. Okay. Well,
Like,
I mean,
what's
maybe
the
if
issue?
If we read, maybe we'll find out.
Okay.
I just wasn't sure if there was like a 6-year-old in the house and I missed it.
No, I didn't see a 6-year-old. Continuing on, he says I'm too soft and that I'm not a leader or a motivator for them. To some degree, I agree.
Whose job is it to lead the house?
The husband's.
That's right.
So is this something where he lives separate from the children? I made choices based on my own experiences as a child or young adult, which directly changed how I chose to parent and be present in my children's lives. I did that alone starting in 2003, just trying to honestly get through each day. There's no excuse, but that's all I knew how to do while carrying the load of being a single mom so young. I did not make my kids do chores. I did not make them get jobs when they came of age to do so. All choices I made based on how I felt and what I felt was important to me. I just wanted them to have a happy, joy-filled childhood, nothing like what I had. Okay, so by doing that, you did a massive disservice to them.
I agree.
If children don't have chores or responsibilities, you're not setting them up for real life. Once they become actual adults living on their own and they recognize that they have to do the dishes and sweep the floor twice a week and get a job and support themselves, it's going to be like getting slapped in the face with a brick wall.
Right.
You set your children up for success by giving them the things in small increments starting young. Kids are going on 6 and 7 and they know how to do laundry. They know how to use the microwave. They know how to use the air fryer. They're getting to the point where they're helping me chop veggies. They can start the shower on their own. They clean their own bedrooms. They put their own laundry away. Got to set them up for success and what it means to be human.
Right. I view this no different than waiting until they're about to hit the wall before hitting the brakes.
Yeah.
If you know that you're going to have to stop, you start applying your brakes from a safe distance.
Mm-hmm.
When you know your kids are going to be coming of age and going to be moving out and having to get into the real world, you want to prepare them for it. So you start hitting the brakes and like getting them into the momentum of what's going to have to happen when they get into their daily lives.
Mm-hmm. Continuing on.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to send my kids away to play. I played with them. I did not obsessively or compulsively clean my house and keep it that way. I chose to make messes with my kids and have fun, and clean up was my task after bedtime.
I mean, I fuck with all of that, except for they should have picked up their own shit.
I agree with that. I'm all down to play with the children. I love playing with the kids. I think it's also important to instill in the children that you're not just their parent.
Right.
You have other things going on in life. So I don't want there to be any shame taken away from this. I didn't send my children away to play. I played with them. You don't have to play with your kids all the time.
Right.
They should learn how to self-soothe, self-occupy, keep their brains going without you being involved every single time they want to play something. Continuing on, they did not need or have to work to get basic needs, i.e. clothes, shoes, personal hygiene care, etc., or to receive them for holidays. I did spoil my kids with toys and whatnot, but also with my fun mom magic. Memories that I hope they will carry for life and hopefully to their children.
So this is all irrelevant at this point. Because one of them is about to be 18. The other one is already 21 or however old it was, and they got a 15-month-old. Right. So right now, this is not relevant to anything.
Well, it's going to start becoming relevant.
Maybe.
Because they have a 15-month-old.
Right.
Now they have this child to raise together, and if he has issue with her past parenting, now they have a 15-month-old coming into view. They're going to start really butting heads when discipline starts to happen or all of that.
They should have had these conversations before there was a baby brought into the world.
Yeah. I don't believe making children earn their clothes and shoes and personal hygiene. You had a child. Those are things that you have to supply for your children. Mm-hmm. But if you want that Gigantosaurus that's $50 at Target, you're going to do some chores for that.
Right.
I'm not just going to give you things because you're my child.
That's not how the universe works.
Right.
Nature doesn't work that way. You have to work for the things that you want across the board.
There are definitely reward things, right? Every week after school, every single Thursday, if you guys are good at home, we'll stop by the gas station, we'll pick out a bunch of snacks. And then Friday mornings, if you get all of your schoolwork done and don't bring anything that's not homework home, then we'll stop somewhere and get a special breakfast before school. So there are definitely things that are happened as a reward, but you just don't get things because you're breathing. Yeah.
I would go a little bit further, though, too, and say that there are things that I would not do. Like every school year, kids get new school clothes, right? You got to go in new shit that you're excited to wear and show off. If you failed the year before and you're going back into the same grade, I'm not buying you new school clothes. Unless your shit's destroyed, you're wearing the same shit you've had all summer. I'm not going to cater and give and do if you're not doing the things that I'm expecting of you to do. If I don't go to work and perform my duties at a job, I don't get a paycheck. I have to make sure that I'm on my P's and Q's. You need to learn this early on in life, so I need you to make sure you're on your P's and Q's. But there's a difference between catering to all of their wants and desires and letting your children be children, right? And giving them the things that you want to give them. Right. Anyways, let's go on with it.
I want to clarify because people like to read into things. Our children do get surprise toys just for the fun of it.
Of course they do.
They don't have to earn every little thing in their life, but big ticket items that they really, really want, you're going to have to earn that. We'll go get it for you.
I disagree.
Yeah? What do you mean?
We don't tell them they have to earn it. Mm-hmm. But if we're out doing something and they've been really good and they ask for something, I'm going to give it to them.
Yeah.
That's earned behavior. Right. But if they've been a fucking nightmare while we've been out in public and they want shit, I'm not buying you nothing. Mm-hmm. So I think to a degree that it is earned. Yeah. They may not understand that, but I do monitor, like, did they clean their room? Like, how has their behavior been today? You know, oh, you got up and got all your shit done and you want Dunkin'? I mean, you got all your shit done. There was no meltdowns or problems this morning. I mean, we could swing a $10 this morning for Dunkin's. Like, right. But I do check that. Mm-hmm. So at some level, there is a reward system there, and I'm not doing if they're not doing. Yeah. Somebody in the chat said their clothes usually don't fit from grade to grade. I mean, it depends on what they're wearing and how often they're bought clothes. If our kids are in sixth grade and they have a growth spurt in sixth grade, I'm not making them wait until seventh grade to get them clothes. Right. There's a difference between making sure they have clothes that fit them versus going out and getting them a new wardrobe for school so they can be the popular kid at school with the new kicks, you know? Mm-hmm.
Continuing on, I do agree with my husband that they should have had chores. I see the benefit in that now. Unfortunately, they were grown and we had our lives set when I met my husband. We did give them chores, and they did them without much complaint or hindrance. That topic has been a point of tension for a long time. I told him, if you won't show my kids affection, love, and all those good things, you don't get to discipline them. I see now that was a big red flag for both of us. My husband never knew his biological father, and his biological mother was extremely abusive with both physical and mental/emotional abuse. He has never openly talked about his childhood to me. Anything I know is from his grandmother, who he calls mom, his grandfather, or his aunt. I could not stomach the stories about what his bio mother did to him. It was bad. Being the type of mom that I am, I had to tell them to stop because it was making me feel physically ill hearing it. His bio mother and stepfather eventually put my husband into foster care at 8 years old. She made it clear to him she never wanted him and favored his 2 younger sisters who were not abused at all. No one stopped this woman's abuse, no one. He never received any therapy for any of that. At 17, he begged his grandparents to finally take him out of foster care, to which they did. Later that year, he was in a car accident where he fell asleep at the wheel and hit a transport truck along its entire side head on. He only survived because the crash threw him out of the driver's seat, he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and into the passenger side. The engine would later be found crushing the driver's seat. He was lucky. He was prescribed oxy pills after that MVA, and he soon became an addict himself. He actually did jail time from doing bad things to feed his addiction. I met him after all of this years later, but it is part of why he is the way he is, he says. I started to see a psychologist because we were in a car accident together in 2020 that left me with chronic pain and physical limitations that impacted my ability to function at normal level daily. And that was a very tough adjustment. I refuse to this day any narcotics for fear of dependence. I had to forfeit my job, my independence, my financial security, all things that I have been solely responsible for since I was 16 to 17 years old. I am currently 41. Due to the MVA, I have physiotherapy, occupational therapy, psychologist, and an SLP, speech and language therapist, for concussion and cognitive/memory issues from the accident. I do these therapies weekly and bi-weekly. My parents watch my baby so I can participate, giving them my full attention. So I can get right down to it. I recognize...
Now you're going to get down to it?
I recognize gaps in my own abilities to communicate and have a healthy partnership with my husband. We both do. Neither one of us have been part of or even witnessed a genuinely healthy relationship. We were 8 years apart, him being younger. We are 8 years apart, him being younger. My husband is a good man, or I wouldn't have married him if I did not see his potential for greatness at times. At times. I feel like Snowpiercer. Hitting the brakes and going off track.
At this point, I don't see how any of that is relevant to anything.
Right.
I gotta be honest, I'm kind of checked out of this email because of what's being said. Like,
yeah, there's really nothing here but
a whole lot of past shit. Like,
right.
If this isn't relevant to what's currently going on in your life, you just typed all of that out for nothing.
Right.
And we had to read it and listen to it for nothing. Is there a parenting issue here? Because we got a whole lot of backstory on your parenting. Does he have a TBI from the fucking accident? Like,
right.
You just said,
what is the hang up?
Right. You guys don't know what a good relationship looks like.
And
well, none of this is relationship anything. This is
right.
about parenting and car accidents.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
That's a good question. I'm a little bit hung up on I wouldn't have married him if I did not see his potential for greatness at times. I saw your greatness and your potential for greatness. Like you were already what I was looking for in a man. And your growth and spiritual journey and healing journey and all of these things that you have continued on down throughout our marriage is just adding to that. I didn't marry you on the hope of you becoming somebody I would want to be married to. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That's how that came across to me.
Right.
Okay. Continuing on, I do believe my perceptions not being rooted in healthy dynamics were misguided now, but I do not think we aren't both capable of growing together. I often say we are very different, but I embrace that. Where my husband has strengths, those are my weaknesses, and where I have strengths, those are his weaknesses.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
I appreciated that within our relationship because to me it meant we could challenge one another and continuously grow together. Us against the world, or so I thought. I'm so sorry. This is long, sweet Jesus. It's hard to compact everything into a single email. I will miss things, but I'll try to be as straightforward as possible for your sake. If this is even able to come across your path, it's therapeutic to write it out nonetheless. We have had loyalty issues. He has sought after women's attention at times throughout our relationship, probably more than I know. He does love attention, I do not. I understand that I am responsible for its continuance. I asked him if this was happening recently because there are signs or behaviors that he exhibited before when this was happening that are coming up now. I don't understand how him seeking attention outside of the relationship is your responsibility.
I do.
Right?
I do.
To a certain extent. If she's not making him happy, I can see why he is seeking elsewhere. If there's not appreciation or gratitude or grace given in moments, or if she's very do as I say, not as I do, or I'm going to run this relationship because I'm the one with the children here, I can see that. Him making the decision to turn outwards, though, is on him. If he's unhappy in the relationship, he could walk away or he could try to fix it. This isn't just a one-sided, he's looking elsewhere because I'm a piece of shit. It takes two people in a relationship for it to fail.
Right. Well, like we said earlier today in a different episode, that people justify things the way they justify things in the moment because they view that as their option.
Right.
And in a situation where you and I had a very strong marriage in every facet, and the one thing that I was missing was attention. Mm-hmm. And every time I tried to come up and try to love on you, you pulled away. Or I told you over and over and over again that I need some sort of love language met, and you are incapable of doing so. That is a big part of who I am as a person that makes me feel loved, wanted, and needed in a relationship. And because that's not being fulfilled, I feel like your roommate.
Right.
The bills are paid, kids are here, cars are new, house is nice. We're financially set for retirement. We've got all these other great things going. This is the one thing that's missing from my life. Do I want to give up all of this for this one thing, or do I want to find emotional attention or flirting or whatever the case may be to fill this one thing so that I can feel whole? It's a thing for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And it comes down to, are you willing to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation to serve the needs of your person?
Right.
I have a really hard time hugging you when I'm at odds with you. You have to tell me I need compression for me to go, oh, fuck, I'm supposed to be hugging her right now. She's crying. It's a thing for us. That's a me thing and a you thing. And until it's acknowledged in the moment, or I'm able to calm down enough to realize that that's what needs to happen, I can't give you that. But knowing that it makes me uncomfortable, but you need it, I am putting myself out to do that. It's not a bad thing. It's not a fuck you for making me do that. Mm-hmm. That's an opportunity for me to serve you. But if you were like, I need that during conflict, and I'm like, tough shit.
Right.
When we have conflict, what are you going to do?
Right.
You will eventually find an outlet for that frustration and a way to comfort yourself and to soothe, because you need that, and I'm not able or willing. I'm not willing to give it to you. So in that situation, I can see why you can find a reason to blame yourself in that, especially if you're actively choosing for that to be a thing, because she knows that she's not a touchy-feely person or not attention-giving, and he needs that. She's making a choice to not serve her husband. That's the accountability that we talked about earlier as well. She can blame it all on him, but she took the accountability in that moment, realizing that she does have a hand in this. It doesn't excuse the behavior, and that's not what I'm doing. I'm not excusing what he's doing, and I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that I can understand that that's where people's headset is with those things.
Mm-hmm. Continuing on.
Yep.
He did not like that I said once that it didn't take a stupid piece of paper for me to be loyal and respectful to him. I did devalue our marriage when I said it like that. I can be mean.
Which is also a choice.
I'm so confused. Did I skip something? I asked him if this was happening recently because there are signs or behaviors that he exhibited before when this was happening that are coming up now. He said all that stopped once we were married. He did not like that I said once that it didn't take a stupid piece of paper for me to be loyal and respectful to him. I did devalue our marriage when I said that. I can be mean.
She did actually devalue the marriage in that statement quite a bit. Like, you removed all of the vows and everything and made your marriage about a useless piece of paper.
Right. I can also see her perspective, though. Why did it take getting married to me to stop doing foul shit behind my back?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Why the bigger question is why would you get married to somebody that's not giving you attention and filling your love meter?
Right.
Why see, and that this is right back to what I was saying earlier. If all of these things check out and this one thing is missing, a lot of people will sacrifice this one thing, even though that one thing is a really big part of their life to have all the other things. So like, where does that balance for you
Right.
or for him or for anybody for that matter, for you guys watching, where is that balance? How much of the things that you think you need in life are you willing to give up to make sure that you have the comfort and security in the other aspects? It's valid. And if he thought that getting married was what was going, and this is made up, totally made up, but if he thought getting that piece of paper is what was going to solidify a future and maybe make her do the wifely things, because we hear all the time that girlfriends shouldn't do wife duties until they're actually wives, right? Like, is that any different than why should I treat her like a husband until I'm actually the husband? Like, there's a whole lot of bullshit behind all of that. There's a hypocrisy to it.
Continuing on.
Yes.
For the last year, he has been distant, always on his phone, not talking to me, not engaging with any of us in our home, including his baby.
Oh, his baby.
Yeah, not our baby.
Right.
He once handed him to me saying, because he wouldn't stop crying, and he made no attempt to soothe him, to just take him, and he'll deal with him when he's older and can talk and understand when my husband speaks to him. I scolded him for saying that, acting that way, and it didn't seem to faze my husband on any level.
Just try to mom him?
Yeah, I was like, why are you scolding him? He's not your child. Why not ask him, babe, what's going on? Why can't you handle him? Are you overwhelmed right now? Is this overstimulating? Is it too much? Is the baby crying giving you anxiety and you just need to step away from from the situation?
I was going to go there. Would she have rather him like not been able to regulate and like shake the child or set it down and walk out of the house instead of coming to her and being like, I can't do this?
Right.
Would you rather him not ask for help?
Right.
Because scolding him, as she put it, when trying to get help is not the answer.
No, it's not.
And he was abused as a child.
Right. Way to make him feel stupid.
Right.
That's also, it didn't seem to faze my husband on any level.
Well,
what were you looking for?
That's a good question.
What? So you said that with intent to get a reaction out of him, and it didn't faze your husband on any level. So what were you expecting? An argument, a defense, for him to armor up and get ready to go to battle with you because you're right in this moment?
Here's a thought. There's only so much somebody can do to you. And when you've experienced those things, the lesser things don't seem like that big of a deal. So as somebody who grew up being massively abused, not going to therapy and not healing from that shit, not becoming a different version of himself, knowing that that abuse came from his mother and you have become a mother wife to him and the way that you're treating him, he's had much worse. Do you think that you talking shit to him is going to make him somehow stop what he's doing? He's been fucking abused.
Yep.
It's really easy to like when you've gone through really crazy shit to not be affected by really small things. We talked about this earlier too. The things that I went through in my life before hitting the trauma that you hit made me deal with my trauma differently than you've dealt with yours. Like you have different experiences, and it could be the exact opposite. I could have had something before I'd ever really been abused that was the catalyst of everything that happened. And I could have never gotten over that. And you could have been massively abused and that thing happened. You're like, it's not a big deal. What are you crying about? Like cognitive bias and lived experiences.
Right.
Where's your compassion? Babe, I can tell that you're really worked up and I appreciate you not shaking the shit out of the kid. And you can step outside and calm down. And when I get the baby calm, I'd like to talk about what just happened so that I can understand where your head's at right now.
Right. Continuing on.
Yep.
He also started to pick fights with my two other kids. Before we had our son, I told him what I expected from him as a father, what I didn't get from my other kids. I wasn't going to bring another child into this world where their dad decides, oh shit, this is hard and expensive, and then bail on all the parenting parts. Because crying babies always drove my now husband nuts in public, and my kids were much older when he first met them.
Okay, pause.
I was surprised
pause.
he wanted one.
Pause. So she knew that he had a hard time with crying babies.
And then scolded him over.
And then, right. Like how you also put the sins of the past on your current man. I don't want a man that's just going to go, this is too expensive and leave because they have a baby now.
Right.
You married this man because of the man that you believe he could be. And you know about his triggers and his traumas and all of that shit. Why would you talk to him that way? I understand having a conversation about what life is going to look like and how you should proceed with parenting and baby rooms and formulas and diapers and all of that shit. If you came to me and tried to put the sins of your ex-husband at my feet, we're going to have a fucking problem because I'm not him. And if you want another man like him, you married the wrong motherfucker because I am not him. I'm not going to pay those sins. And when those sins come up and you're working through something, we can absolutely talk about that. I will help you through it. But there's a different scenario in going, hey, this happened. It reminded me of this situation and I'm triggered versus I ain't going to have a man that does this. Well, that's good because I'm not that man. Are you insinuating that I am? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a problematic thing for me. All of that whole thing is
the way it's phrased.
Alarms. Ding, 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 ding.
Continuing on. We even discussed it years before, but at the same time, he also wanted an Audi. And I said, we can't save for a baby and a house and an Audi. You have to pick one. He did. He got the Audi. Then we were in the accident. I tried to explain that I was much older now, that I have physical and even at times emotional battles, and that I would really need him and his help and support. I didn't get it.
That would have been a very different conversation than the previous one.
Right.
That's healthy. That's a great, if we're going to do this baby thing, I am disabled. I'm also 40. We have a higher risk of autism, birth defects, premature infant death.
Things going wrong.
There's a whole lot of things that could go wrong now because of my age. I would like to really plan this out to make sure that we have all of our bases covered before we have this baby. Very different conversation than the one previously stated.
Right. I also want to pause. Why would he really want to be there and provide help and support if you treat him the way that you treat him, like scalding him over the fact that he got overwhelmed with a baby crying or something?
Yep. You know that when women hear babies cry, their mother instinct kicks in. Even if they don't have kids.
Yeah.
Like that is a natural thing for a woman to want to like save the child. That's not a thing for a lot of men. We don't have that in that natural, I need to make the baby stop crying. I'm gonna go hunting.
Right.
Let the woman deal with that. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's not when you really think about it, but that's the way life has been. The warriors had done the warrior shit. The hunters hunted, the gatherers gathered, the women raised children. There are men out there, especially men with fucking TBIs that can't do well with fucking kids screaming. And I don't know if he has one. I think I might have made that up.
I think you did.
So let's just forget that I said that just now. But it's hard for men to deal with shit like that, especially because we are not the nurturing of the genders. We are the killers and the ones that are going to go and provide and do the hard shit.
Continuing on.
Yeah.
I think when I made the decision to have my newest son, that it was a rash choice on my part. My clock was running out. My husband would say, and he wanted a child, and it was from me choosing blissful ignorance that I didn't choose to acknowledge just how hard it would really be. Even having the anticipation in mind that he would in fact become distant. He has been a tough baby, colic, that shit is hard, doesn't sleep well, trouble breastfeeding or pooping in general. It's been more difficult than my other two, and my husband chooses not to help. I'm lucky to get a 30-minute shower by myself at night. That's it.
Yeah, it's all problematic.
Yeah, it is problematic, but he also chose the Audi over a baby.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
like,
he's chosen a lot.
This is one of those things where all of the signs were there. You knew he didn't like young kids and screaming babies.
Yep.
Yeah, there is definitely a blissful ignorance on the emailer's end.
Well, there's also a need to make him happy.
Yeah.
You can have a house, an Audi, or a kid who can't do all three. And he got the car, wrecked the car, and then they had the baby. And she did it knowing that there was going to be problems in the marriage from it. Like this is having a baby to save a marriage. That's really what it comes down to. This dude is getting all the shit that he wants, and there's not real consequences to any of it.
Yeah.
You know, you having a child doesn't, you don't get to just step away from that. Like you're going to fuck the kid up. You're going to destroy your marriage. There's a whole lot of things that come into that, and not having a 30-minute shower or not having 30 minutes to take a shower. I don't understand why women need a 30-minute shower. I can shower in 5. I can get in and out in 5 minutes and properly clean myself in 5 minutes. 30-minute shower is a long fucking time. What you mean is you want that warm water because that warmth makes you feel good and you're getting a break from your kid and you need a break. That's the conversation. Not I can't get a 30-minute shower.
Well, there's
I need
everything
some self-care.
showers.
What's the everything shower?
I'm shaving my legs, shaving my arms, getting to my armpits, cleaning up the meow, doing my hair.
What do you mean doing your hair? Like after the shower?
No, so I don't wash my hair every time I take a shower.
Okay.
So like shampooing, conditioning my hair, second conditioning, detangling, all of that. Body scrub, getting all the dead skin off of me with a salt scrub. And then body conditioning.
So you're taking a spa day in the bathroom.
Kind of.
It's not a shower.
That is a shower.
No, it's not.
Yeah, sometimes it takes 30 minutes.
All I need is a bar of soap. I don't even need a washcloth. In
Yeah.
5 minutes and I can get clean.
This is why I'm the pretty one.
You're right.
I have a lot to maintain this thing you like looking at.
I still think that the point is that she doesn't need a 30-minute shower. She needs a break.
She needs alone time.
She needs time to do self-care and wants to be able to enjoy her life without the kid freaking out and screaming and doing all of that.
Being up her ass.
This is one of those things too, though, that you ignored the signs. If every time you've seen a screaming baby, your husband's complained about it, you don't need to be having a kid with him because babies cry. That's what they do. They cry, they shit, and they puke for the first year of their life.
That is their whole existence.
Right.
Continuing on.
Yes.
And what?
Vibe said pits, tits, and ass. Field wash. That's it. It gets wild that you guys. Granted, we don't have to shave in the shower. That doesn't constitute as part of my shower.
No.
My head shaving and my like face shaving is different. I do that before I get in the shower, and that's not part of it. And you're a part of that with me, so like I would never count that. In the event that I had to groom myself, shave my head, shave my face, like properly shave, it would take me less than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So still don't understand a 30-minute shower. This is just fun for me at this point. Okay.
I do a lot. I do a lot for myself.
I appreciate
body
it.
oil. I put body oil on as well. It's the last thing I put on, so my body's nice and soft. The whole rigmarole to get through. I want to make sure you like touching me still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we did that psilocybin experience and we shared consciousness that day, that was one of the things that you cried over. I touched you and I was like, I love your skin is so soft. And you're like, really?
I love that you love touching me. Like physical touch is one of my love languages.
That's funny.
And I like knowing that you think my skin is soft and I'm pretty and dainty and delicate and calloused man hands.
Yeah. All right, let's get back in. We're 1 hour and 10.
Okay. In the past 2 months, I've tried in so many ways to get him to understand that what he is doing or not doing at all is not helpful, supportive, or healthy for us.
How that matters.
Right.
How you have those conversations is going to dictate the outcome of that said conversation.
Yeah.
Scolding him is not going to get you that outcome.
No.
Nagging, bitching, complaining, not the move.
Yeah.
So with all the information that we've gotten so far,
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have had the information on how you've asked him and how those conversations have went.
So there's not much of an elaboration.
Of course there's not.
But she says, I've outright asked. I've asked gently and not gently.
Yeah, that doesn't matter though.
Yeah.
You can think that you're making an I statement in a very sweet manner and still throw shade at somebody.
Yeah. The way that I would approach this is, babe, I feel like I'm drowning.
Right.
And if I feel like I'm drowning, I would put money on the fact that you probably feel like you're drowning too.
Yep.
So what can we do for each other to not feel like this anymore? Because I miss my husband.
Conversations, the way you have the conversations matters.
Yeah. Continuing on.
Yes.
Not only in terms of our son, but our own relationship and the relationship with my 2 kids. Even my parents and his grandparents. When I bring up any concern, I have it turned around on me, so I revert to just keeping it inside. Not good, I know. Throughout this year, I was not in the right mental space to comprehend the full context of all of this or to navigate its complexities, even with mental health help. I am 41 years old, chronic pain, depression, constant doctor's appointments and therapies I actively participate in, and little to no sleep at times. A large apartment to take care of, 2 grown kids, a new baby with all these responsibilities and challenges as well, and 2 sweet female Yorkies.
I don't understand why she keeps bringing up the older kids.
I'm assuming that they still live at home.
At 17 and 21, though, they don't need you to fucking helicopter anymore. Like, let them be adults.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet, I would put money on the fact that they are not communicating properly to each other. And I'm willing, if we could hear the conversation and the way that she's asking for things, we could rip that apart in a second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to toot my own horn. We have the relationship we have because we've learned how to talk to each other. We've had conversations where in the conversation where we are in active conflict, paused and changed the entire topic from what's currently at hand to what the fuck just happened.
Right.
I don't like that you said that. I don't like how that made me feel. I don't understand why you would word it that way. This is what I think you said. This is what I heard. And I need you to say it again in a different way so that I can understand your point.
I don't understand how we got here.
I love you. I don't want to talk to you like this.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that we don't know how to communicate changed everything for us. Learning how to have hard conversations and learning what needs to be said, how it needs to be said, and each other's triggers changed all of that.
Yeah.
I could talk to the wall until I'm blue in the face. The wall is not communicating with me.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be comprehension in order for there to be communication. I could be speaking Spanish to you. And if you don't understand Spanish, we're not having a conversation. I'm talking at you. There's a difference.
Right.
And your relationship is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
If you are trying to express your wants, needs, desires, loves, and all of that shit to your person, and you're doing it in a way that comes across that they don't understand it or it appears to be combative or conflict, you're going to get the same result every fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
So in all of the years that they've been together, which I don't know how long it's been, if they've been together for a long time and they've never had the hard conversations about communication and what it means when they do X, Y, and Z, they will never bounce back from this.
Right.
Nothing will change. You will stay exactly where you are right now until you guys split.
Mm-hmm. Something that I am still actively working on is when I get triggered and I'm in fight or flight. When we have really hard conversations and I'm very emotional and I can't reel it in, my abandonment is full swing. And at that point, I am like death grasping to try and defend my position in the relationship and not lose you.
Right.
And when I'm going through that, it's really hard for me to hear your side of things because I need to make sure you don't walk away from me in this moment. In the beginning, like the big catalyst for that was I've heard you already. Like, what else do you want from me? Hearing you say early on, you don't want to get to a point to where you feel like your feelings don't matter in the situation, that you just have to appease me with a really big eye opener. And the other day in our conversation, it took me a little bit to come around and get back on level footing because you were saying, I feel like I'm not being heard right now. This is what I'm saying. And then I would trail off onto something else. And it took, I greatly appreciate your patience with me because you repeated it like 3 or 4 times to me. And then I finally got it. And I was like, holy fuck, I'm not meaning to do that to you. I'm sorry.
Right.
And I felt the need to say that because that's something I've done my whole life. And if there are people who are inadvertently doing that in their conversation because she's saying she's asking nicely, she's asked not nicely. If you are focused on your outcome solely of this conversation, you're fucking up.
Right.
Because this isn't about you. This is about the two of you, your marriage, and then beyond that, your family. Continuing on.
Yes.
I feel that my husband is choosing to be purposely obtuse to anything that concerns me or this family. He seems to only be out for himself and what serves his wants and needs.
Sounds like he's checked out.
Yeah. I finally blew up a few weeks ago after he tried to tell my oldest son to give him the keys to his car I bought him and to leave our home. That was not happening. I did not allow that. My son has been trying to find full-time work for a while. Unfortunately, in our small town, that's not easy.
So, no, dude, no. She just skipped over such a crazy pivotal thing that could have been relevant to what's happening right now.
Right.
For your husband, who's going to be there long after your kids move out and get their own family, has told your oldest son to give them the car key and to move out. How is that such a prevalent thing that you just say that and then move the fuck past it? What did your oldest son do? What is your husband doing? What is happening in your household that is a thing?
What was the catalyst for that? Because I don't believe that he was just a dick to your son and went, give me the keys, get out of the house.
Right. That's not, you don't do that.
No.
And these things don't happen as a one-off. It's a buildup of shit that gets to that point where people finally lose their fucking shit. So here's where I'm getting from this email. The husband doesn't feel appreciated. The kids absolutely come first. He doesn't have a connection to the two oldest. They clearly still live there. He gets bitched at by the wife. The kids probably don't respect him, and he's living in this house playing husband.
And the kids clearly come first.
Right. So why would he be connected to all of that? If I'm last on the list of importance, I'm not fucking dedicating my life to all you guys because I fucking matter too. Yeah, there's a whole lot here that's missing.
Oh, look at that piece of feta cheese.
Is it Gouda?
Very.
Good.
I was going to think of another cheese response,
joke.
but my mind just went to Parmesan. And I was like,
This is just Parmesan.
I was so disappointed.
That shit was so funny. That's a whole ass thing.
It's a whole thing now.
Jenny said I should point out it is the kid's car. She said it's the car that she bought him.
Right.
So if it's not in the kid's name, it's not his car. It's hers. And that's a whole ass conversation too. If he's paying the insurance for the car, like that's a conversation. That shit's not gray or black and white. There's a whole lot of gray here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit that needs to be cleared in emails like this.
All right, continuing on. He does work part-time, but it's not enough. Enough for what, you might ask? For him to move out on his own. That's what my husband wants, regardless of how it actually comes to fruition. I bought him a car for the sole purpose of widening his employment reach. To my husband, he wasn't finding a job fast enough, so that meant he wasn't trying at all.
Okay, so that's not what's going on. Your husband knows that as a man, it's not that hard to find a fucking job. 21 years old, you can go get a labor job just about anywhere. You can do day labor, you can work at a car wash. There's a whole lot of shit that you can be doing. If you have a car and you're sitting at home and you're not using it to DoorDash, I would be going through the same shit. If we bought at 21 years old, if we bought someone a vehicle under the expectation of them getting a job and 2 weeks went by and they don't have full-time employment, I'm pissed. Because if I had to go get a job, I could have full-time employment tomorrow.
Yeah.
With a felony, no high school education and no GED, I could have a job tomorrow. That's bullshit. Tattoos on my face.
Right.
I could go get a job and be hired tomorrow. What are you willing to do?
Within the last 2 months of having the car, my 21-year-old son has applied to jobs. In 1 month, he applied to 23 full-time positions in our surrounding areas and did not get a call back. I'm going to be that person. That wasn't even in one application a day.
Oh, you're right.
I would be filling out 10 to 20 applications every single day.
Damn, I didn't even think about that. He's less than 1/3.
Yeah, 23 in 1 month.
Or he said in 2.
In 1 month, he applied to 23 full-time positions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a day or 2 tops.
Yeah.
See, I thought 2 months.
No. So that's not even an application every day. Like I said, when I did not have a job, I was pumping them out on Indeed, LinkedIn. I was going into local grocery stores.
Yeah.
Less than 2 weeks before I got a job.
Jenny said they live in small town Canada. There's still options. There are websites that you can do. There labor. Okay. Anybody that's ever worked construction, the worst job on the construction field is cleanup.
Yeah.
You're a grunt. You're doing all the shit that the people who have been there for a long time don't want to do. And it's hard fucking work. But you do the job until you get to the point where you've been somewhere long enough that there's a new grunt. And you can walk onto almost any job site in any state and get a job, unless there's like union catches with that employer or whatever. And there's a whole lot of under the table shit.
Yep.
I don't know Canada, right? So I'm speaking for us Americans, but I know that, again, I just, that whole, it's been 2 months or a month or whatever, and he hasn't found a full-time job. I just don't, I don't fuck with that. If he's 21 years old, if he was living out on his own, do you think that he could have went a month without a full-time job? You excusing this behavior and justifying his lack of due diligence, because 23 applications in 30 days is not enough.
No.
Yep.
And you know, I understand living in a small town. If you live in a small town that's all agriculture, and like it is farms passed down through family generations, and you guys have one small area to go grocery shopping and everybody knows everybody, I can see the 23 job applications being a thing.
Right.
Right. But how small of a town are they actually living in? Right.
Well,
if it's cornfields and
still got farm work though.
Yeah. Everyone can use an extra hand.
There's labor work that has to get done.
Continuing on. When my husband picked a fight with him as he got home from his part-time job, he said to him, "You're not even trying and probably haven't even applied for 3 jobs since getting his car." My son came out with his Indeed account and said in 1 month, boom, 23 applications and not 1 call. My husband actually looked at my son and said, "Why didn't they call you?" My son, having a bit too much of his mama in him, thought quickly and said, "I don't know. Why don't you fucking call them and ask?"
21 years old. He's a man now.
Yeah. My son, having a bit too much of his mama in him, thought quickly and said, "I don't know. Why don't you fucking call them and ask?" If that's how you speak to your husband, I can see why he's not wanting to be there for you emotionally.
Right.
And be present in the moment and do family things.
Or the fact that this just happened and went unchecked.
Right.
What would have happened if he'd have stood up and put that kid through a wall? That young man, the adult, 21-year-old child of this woman through the wall. Because Big Boy Britches just got a little bit too big. Him saying, "Why didn't they call you back?" is a valid question.
Yeah.
Can I see your resume?
Right.
What are you putting on these applications that you don't have previous work experience, that you're only willing to work Monday through Thursday? That are you putting crazy expectations for job like pay? There's a reason you're not getting called back. Is it that they're getting thousands of applications a day and you just don't fit the bill? Or are you applying for very specific jobs? There's very valid questions in that.
I agree. There are very, very valid questions in that. Also, as a mother, that would not go unchecked.
Right. Well, now we understand why he said, "Give me the keys to get the fuck out of my house."
Right.
If that was how that played out and that was the next statement, I agree.
Yeah. That would have been a conversation with my 21-year-old son of you don't speak to your stepfather that way. You don't speak to people that way, and sure as fuck you're not going to speak to my husband that way.
Yeah. You wouldn't have had that opportunity.
No.
Fuck no. 21-year-old kid said that in my house. I'm going to be right in his face.
Yeah.
We're not doing that shit. There is a level of respect that's going to be maintained in this household.
Yeah.
Especially while I'm paying the bills and you're living under my fucking roof.
Yeah.
Like, you are living at the charity of me.
I was just getting ready to say the charity. Continuing on.
Mm-hmm.
He was even mean to my daughter.
Oh my God.
She's been going through bullying at school, not directed towards her, but one of her friends, and she's trying to stick up for them being bullied. One of her friends who came over one day had self-harm scars all over her legs. My husband saw them and said not nice things about her to me, and later made comments about me because I was being compassionate towards her. That I didn't believe that it was as simple as that she was, in his words, just a mental case.
But this had nothing to do with the daughter. This was private conversation between the two of you after the fact.
Right. I was hung up on that too. Because she said he was even mean to my daughter, so I'm thinking that there was an interaction between him and the daughter.
Right.
But this was a private conversation between husband and wife. Continuing on, after she spent the night, coincidentally, the day after she went home, I found a razor blade on our living room floor. I questioned my daughter. Actually, that's the first and only time I've ever raised my voice while talking to one of my kids. I needed her to understand the severity of what could have happened if the baby had found that. She said it wasn't her friends and that had come out of her back pocket from her working on a school project at home. I explained to her to not bring those kinds of things home and to only work on projects in her own room or the kitchen. She understood how not okay and unsafe that was. It was careless, but does not mean that she doesn't care about her little brother. She loves him completely. Where did that come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That insinuates that there was malicious intent.
Right.
So were you yelling at your daughter thinking that she did that shit on purpose, that they were just leaving razors laying around because fuck your other kid?
Right.
Look, at this point, is there a lot more of this? I got to be honest, I'm really done with this.
Yes.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
I don't real shit, I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay.
The way that she's allowing things to unfold in her household is the fucking problem. She doesn't know how to communicate. Her husband's not a priority. Her kids get away with everything. There's no real discipline. There's no real structure to the way things are expected. The kids get to do whatever the fuck they want to do. They are going to pay for it. And their relationship's fucked up. You want to fix your marriage? Learn how to talk to your husband.
Right.
Make him a fucking priority over everything else. And come to a common understanding of what parenting is supposed to look like. At 21 years old, you're not a parent to them anymore in terms of parenting.
Right.
They're a fucking adult. And if they can't find a job, you shouldn't be buying them cars. I'm pretty sure Canada has a really good public transportation thing. I again, maybe they live in a small town. I don't know. But I know that if you live in a city anywhere, there's cabs and buses and you got your Chevrolet legs and you can ride a bicycle. Yep. I'm not spending $20,000, $30,000 or even $10,000 or $15,000 on you so that you can drive around your friends and hang out and do shit other than find a fucking job.
And have me pay for the gas.
Right. And insurance, because on a half-time employment, he's not making the payments. He's definitely not making the insurance. You need to get your house in order. And I hate to say it, a lot of this comes down to the emailer.
Yeah.
From what we've read, I believe she's the problem in this. Jenny said, I put this through for this reason. This is what happens when you put your kids above your husband.
Yep.
That's it. Vibe said, let your husband lead and support him.
Yep.
I would never let the kids talk to you that way. Even if they were stepkids and they were mine, 6 and 7 years old.
Not playing that game.
They're not going to talk shit to you like that.
No.
We are fucking curbing that immediately. The moment that we decided to do this life thing together and I want to grow old with you and I want to be sitting on the porch drinking sweet tea out of a fucking mason jar, this is it.
Yeah.
You want to make the ride or die comments or, be there no matter what and all of that Bonnie and Clyde shit. Like, you don't get to be like, except when my kids are involved or except when
my mother says something.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's going to be the two of you ride or die end of the world scenario, like was stated earlier in this email, although she didn't word it ride or die, she said something else. Where's that at? Because I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing a whole lot of division and a whole lot of lack of communication and you picking other things over your children. Or I'm sorry, over your husband. 21 years old, you shouldn't be picking that kid. We know somebody right now that is almost 30 years old whose parents still do everything for them.
Yes.
It's fucking pathetic.
Yep. And call yourself a man.
The parents in that situation have failed that young man.
Yes.
Regardless of his age or what he's doing in life and all the shortcomings that he has, them not allowing him to hit rock bottom and continuing to support the lifestyle that they're giving him without him having any type of real repercussions or discipline or structure in his life is a problem. And that's speaking on the person we know directly, not on the email. Right.
Yeah. I got nothing else.
Me either. It's funny. You see this? Jenny said at Kaz, small town Canada mostly doesn't have public transit. I know that she's not talking to me.
Right.
Because they don't know me as that.
Right.
But still to this day, when I see that, it catches my attention. Like I'm supposed to be paying attention. And when I'm in the tattoo shop, that's what I hear. So like that ultra ego nickname shit is still very prevalent to me. It's fucking funny.
I get that. It's pretty wild to hear people call me Chris.
Yeah, that earlier I was like, oh, that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, that felt uncomfortable.
One of these days I'm going to do that while you're cooking.
Please don't.
Just name, like full name.
Why would you do that
Just to make you uncomfortable.
I would think that you're trying to divorce me. Why you hit me with my government name right now? What did I do?
Gonna come in and be like, I need your car keys and say your name and then just leave.
No, you're not, because my full body is going to be on the windshield.
Holding on to the hood.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Tell me you love me.
My goodness, you can't hit me with that bomb and then just go.
That's so funny.
Yep.
That's so funny. Criff.
That was the first funny moment between my husband and I.
It was. It absolutely was.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. With that being said, remember you were the authors of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we will see you on the next one.
Toodaloo.